The new Modern Warfare 4 footage has given us a much better idea of why Captain Price is working with Valeria. That immediately makes us ask what Archer is and why Price needs it. Now, I already have a complete separate theory about that in yesterday's video, but there is another question hidden inside of this line that could be just as important.
Don't forget our deal. We don't get to Paris, you don't get your Archer.
If Archer is what Price gets out of this arrangement, what exactly is Valeria getting from Price? Now, before we get to that, I want to answer this question first. How the hell did Price and Valeria get into contact in the first place? Look at this scene here.
What did you do?
What I had to.
Las Almas Cartel clearly picked up Price and took him away. Now, I always wondered why, and I think I just got the answer. This once again comes from Sean, a longtime friend of the channel, and I think it could fill one of the biggest gaps in the timeline. Maybe whatever Valeria is trying to accomplish in Paris didn't originally involve Price at all. Maybe she had a deal with Makarov, and Makarov was supposed to help her complete it. That could explain why Las Almas Cartel is already in New York and gets to Price shortly after his confrontation with Makarov. They were there to meet Makarov, but when they arrive, Makarov is found dead and Price is on top of him, so they take him directly to Valeria. Maybe Valeria wants to know why Price killed Makarov and what he learned before doing it. Price reveals that Makarov mentioned Archer, or maybe Price discovered information about Archer while going through Makarov's operation. Either way, Price now knows Archer exists and realizes it could be important to whatever larger threat he is trying to stop. The problem is that Price doesn't know how to get to Archer, but Valeria does. Price has also created a problem for her, so she tells Price, "You killed Makarov, you ruined my deal, now you're gonna finish what he was supposed to do, and in return, I'll give you fucking Archer." That could be the actual agreement we're hearing about in traffic when Valeria tells Price,
Don't forget our deal. We don't get to Paris, you don't get your Archer.
Price may be taking Makarov's place in an operation that was already well underway before he killed him. This would confirm that Valeria and Price do not trust each other, but they need each other, at least for now. And with all of this established, let's talk a little bit about that damn yellow van. This van appeared before traffic. We saw the same yellow van during the original Modern Warfare 4 reveal, except it was in much better condition. Now, we can finally see what happens to it. Throughout traffic, this van is being pursued and absolutely destroyed, and Price and Valeria seem to be protecting it and kind of stopping anyone that gets close to it. Eventually, we see both Captain Price and Valeria inside of the van themselves. So, obviously, the natural question is, what is Valeria transporting? Like we stated yesterday, it could be drugs. Yes, of course. And if we dig deeper, we can understand why we might think that. Valeria is El Sin Nombre, the leader of Las Almas Cartel. We know Valeria became the cartel's leader after leaving the Mexican military, and she has an enormous criminal empire with endless resources. Now, if you look at real-life events, Europol and the DEA have specifically documented Mexican criminal members working with European criminal networks to traffic cocaine and meth from Latin American countries to the European Union. Now, Europol has also warned for years about Mexican organized crime attempting to expand further into European drug markets. France also makes sense within that larger picture. Europol describes cocaine trafficking into Europe as an enormous and evolving criminal market. So one possibility is incredibly straightforward. Valeria is expanding Las Almas Cartel into Europe. Maybe that yellow van is carrying something that establishes a connection with a European criminal organization, and Price is helping her complete this major delivery. But obviously, Price is still iffy on the whole situation. Price tells Valeria during the teaser, "We're engaging police," and Valeria responds, "No." But they bleed the same. Now, if I'm being honest with you guys, this question stumped me a bit, and I kept listening to it over and over again, and I just kept thinking to myself, why did she say that? Maybe she meant that it's not police and it's maybe the French special forces. I just didn't really know. But then I remembered that in the reveal, we saw Shadow Company pursuing Price and Valeria. So it could be the Shadow Company who's engaging them, and Valeria's just telling Price, "Nah, don't worry, it's just Shadow, we can fucking kill him." And like that'll make it okay, I guess. So I don't know, that's where my mind went. And so now we have a potential reason why Valeria and Price got together. Now we have a potential answer to what Valeria might be moving into Paris. And now I want to cover one last thing before we close this out. It is basically a very small reminder of the shared history between Makarov's Kane Group and Valeria's Las Almas Cartel. During the Warzone and DMZ storyline after Modern Warfare 2, Valeria was imprisoned in Mexico. But in April of 2023, she escaped. and she immediately began expanding the Las Almas cartel beyond Mexico. Her forces moved into Al-Mazrah and began expanding the cartel's smuggling operations throughout the region. And this is where the connection to Connie begins to become important. During the DMZ storyline, Connie was secretly operating under the identity of Crown while trying to gain access to the Cosechi complex underneath Al-Mazrah. Connie eventually made arrangements with both Al-Qatala and Las Almas cartel to help them gain access to the buried entrances of the complex. Las Almas was given an additional role. They were supposed to make it appear as though they had discovered these entrances themselves, helping conceal what Connie was actually doing. This is extremely important when we start talking about Makarov and Valeria and what they could be doing maybe 3 years later. Valeria runs an international smuggling organization. Connie needs weapons, they need equipment, they need operations moved around the world without maybe these activities exactly being traced back to them. So Las Almas cartel is exactly the kind of organization that can provide these services. Now later in 2023, Connie's financier, Milena Romanova, brokered another deal with Las Almas cartel. This time, Las Almas was tasked with distributing Connie's stolen chemical gas to locations around the world. That is almost exactly the type of relationship we're now theorizing could exist again in Modern Warfare 4. Now, as far as I can find, we have never actually seen Valeria and Makarov personally in the same room, but their organizations 100% worked together in the past, making it a lot more easier to understand them working again in Modern Warfare 4.
Don't forget our deal. We don't get to Paris, you don't get your Archer.
We're engaging police.
No, but they bleed just the same.
You should know better than to doubt me, Capitan.
There is too much heat on us. We're exposed out here.
So are they.